Hello, my friends. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Zhao with G&E TV. Almost every week, and now it's getting even more condensed. We're talking about every other day. We're talking about President Donald Trump. When we first started, we're doing Trump Weekly, and now we're in between Trump Semi-Weekly and Trump Daily.
Yeah, by the hour.
By the hour. Okay, now, today joining me is my good friend, my brother, Ken Hemming, a philosopher and a political commentator. CPA for life, though. He devoted all his extra time, spare time, with the community, trying to help advocate a voice that he believes what is right, which is right.
Yes.
And yesterday I had my great friend, Mr. James Lee of the Republican Party,
Yes, good.
here on the show talking about Donald Trump and his 100 days. At the time when we were closing up, just about 30 seconds, we heard from the news
Right.
that the Trump Care has passed the House
Yes.
with a majority vote
Yes.
by large. Okay. And now they're waiting for the Senate to clear. Right? Should it go green light? Should it go not green light? So we don't know yet. Today, joining me in the discussion about the Trump Care, I call it Trump Care anyway, is my good friend Ken Hemming. Ken, welcome to the show.
Jack, when I get to look at you, and I know your viewers are here, I'm the happiest man in the world.
Okay, you're
love
out. And when you're happy, I'm happy.
Thank you.
You're okay, I'm okay. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, there's a movie called I'm Okay, You're Okay, right?
Okay.
Was that it?
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But I have heard of it.
It's a good movie, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm okay, you're okay, I'm okay, right? Now, problem is that lots of people worry about the passing of the House of the Trump Care versus Obamacare, which is overturned, supposed to be overturned.
Yes, sir.
What's your overall feeling or comment about the news?
Well,
and I see you wear a red tie today, or celebrating something.
My Trump tie on. I wore it last night to dinner because I was just a happy boy. And see, Obamacare, Jack, it was designed, well, number one, it was passed based on lies and lies and lies. If you like your plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep it. So, and then Nancy Pelosi, who's incredible, said you can't know what's in the plan until it's passed. And it's 2,700 pages. But it was designed as an intermediary step to financially fail, which it's doing, and then the government would come in with a single payer program where every person in America then would have to get their insurance through a government program. And that's 1/6 of the economy, and that really reduces the individual freedom of choice of the citizens. And so I've never been a fan at all of the desire of Obamacare to create a one-payer system controlled by the government, which controls the citizens. Yesterday was glorious.
Yeah, I see. But it's still too early to say. When just going that way, but still too early to say. Wait until they pass the Senate.
Oh, absolutely.
At the Senate, you have only 52 seats.
Yes, sir.
And you have to make sure, well, almost 100% of the 52 seats voted.
Yes, that's
Otherwise,
right. You could only lose two.
Only
then,
lose two,
then Mike
one.
Pence,
Only
the
lose
vice president,
one.
would cast the vote.
Okay, now,
It's 50-50.
and then, now. So, well, you want to make sure you do get the 51.
It's going to be hard in what they're going to do. Like, for example, Rand Paul, who's a senator, he's a nice guy, whatever, but he's such a libertarian, and he's against everything. And these people don't realize if Trump wasn't president, they wouldn't even have their job, okay?
No, you're not talking about reciprocation, right?
Well, I'm not sure.
You're not talking about your gratefulness for getting the job. You're talking about doing what's right, right?
Well, doing what's right, of course that's correct. Some people have 100% different views as to what's right. Okay, the Democratic Party.
No. I would just want to.
Okay.
If you said it accidentally, I want to just help you mend it, right? If that's your philosophy, I really have to discuss with you. doing a job in Congress, taking a position in Congress is doing the job. It's not a reciprocation for because of you I'm here, such as a justice of the Supreme Court. He is or she is doing the job. Not to say, hey, my God, thank you very much, Donald Trump. Because of you, your nomination, I'm a judge.
Well, the point is, no, the point is the people in the various districts, election districts, elected Trump based on his agenda. And the people that elected their congressman expect the congressman to support
to do the job, to do the job, to do the job.
Yeah.
It is not because the affection in mind, saying that because of you I got my job, and I believe that was your accident that in making a statement. Am I right?
Well, Trump almost accomplished the impossible of an outsider being elected president of the United States. Yeah. Without
Trump, we wouldn't be even talking about Trump today. That sounds my appreciation, my reciprocation, right? So, yeah, we let that pass, and we know that it is it is more correct to say they are there to do the job, for the job.
Absolutely.
All right? Now, so in the Senate, though, with the 52 Republicans, you're talking about 48 left, right? So for the 48, I believe the 48 would vote no on the Trump case.
The only reason I think that some Democrats might come across, particularly because there'll be more little modifications to what was passed yesterday, is that 10 of the senators, Democratic senators, are up for re-election in 2018. And if they're posed to be, they look like they just support and the Democratic Party and resist the progress that Trump's agenda. The people in those districts, all 10 of those senators, the states went to Trump. So the state can very well elect a Republican senator to replace a Democrat senator, which I'm hoping and praying for. And so we'll see what happens. But they're at risk if they just are in the Trump resistance.
Are you saying you're expecting more? Let's borrow a term, betrayals. Betrayals, right? Just borrow it for temporary purpose, right? So are you saying that you expect to see more betrayals in Democratic Party than in the Republican Party?
I do think there'll be more than zero, yes, and they will see the light. They will use the common sense, and they'll see the value, because Obamacare doesn't exist right now. I mean, it's still unwinding, okay, but I think they'll see the light that if they want to enhance their chance of being reelected, that they will support the new health care program. So we'll find out. The base.
Are you expecting anybody within the 52 seats of the Republican Party who will betray their own party?
Rand Paul, I think, will. And they're going to have to do
And then
things.
You're one short already?
Well, there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 that I don't think will end up voting no, but could very well vote against it because of their own obsessive ideas that are not supportive of what the House passed through.
In other words, we still say the chance of passing the Senate is still 50-50.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. So there's not even a little more.
No.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Now.
Very. And the thing is,
the news has it that you won't see anything for weeks.
That I don't.
With the summer approaching.
I don't think it will be for weeks. I think it'll be much faster. I think McConnell.
Faster than that?
Yeah.
What if a month? They say month.
Well, this is the month of May, and it will get, it goes to the Senate right away, so it's all up to Senator McConnell how fast. Yeah,
the Senate might not take it right away.
They might not, and if they don't, then it's another very poor decision on the part of the Republican leadership in the Senate.
Okay, anyway, all right,
good. It's a hot potato, grab it.
I see, okay, all right, good. And next thing I want to ask you a personal favor, please.
Yes, sir,
a personal favor. Forget who you are.
Okay.
Forget your partisanship. just tell me from a CPA point of view,
yes,
why wouldn't Obamacare work? Why would Trumpcare work?
Okay.
By technicality.
Well,
can we please?
Sure. Obamacare, I have audited insurance companies. I know the insurance business.
That's why I'm asking that way,
yeah.
yes.
But just to give some credence to what I say, you know, Obamacare really isn't insurance, okay? It's more of a government program with money that the government's giving to make things happen for a while.
Let's back up one more step.
Yeah.
What is insurance system?
Insurance is spreading the risk of those insured for a program, whether it be auto insurance, health insurance, or fire insurance, whatever insurance, okay? Spreading the risk over so many people, dispersed over such a large geographical area, and then the actuaries make calculations about the probabilities of accidents happening, and which does involve the considerations of age, pre-existing conditions. I've had polio and cancer. I had all kinds of pre-existing conditions. Okay, and so, and then they calculate the revenues, the premiums, based on the probability of accidents with an intention to make a profit, a reasonable profit.
Okay, let's say, just for per se purpose. Okay, let's say we need $1 trillion for the whole thing to function.
Well,
all right. Let's say the government now puts up 50% of it, and the insured puts up another 50%, and that gets the $1 trillion in the basket, and it is the providers, insurance providers,
right.
They kind of dispatch or allocate the money to make sure that the insured sees a doctor, gets a problem taken care of. The pharmaceuticals the pharmaceutical companies sell their products.
That's a big issue.
Right? Doctors get paid. Everybody in the whole industry get paid, and they get their share of the money.
The only thing you said.
So I'm just trying to understand the whole structure.
Right.
If I describe it in a way like this, am I wrong or right?
Well, none of the money should come from the government. All of the money for that goes in for the premiums of the insurance should come from the people seeking insurance coverage.
No.
It's not the government's business.
It is the different.
Stuck its nose in.
It is different. It is different between should come and comes.
Right. The government has forced themselves up into our daily lives to influence us on how we.
I'm talking about status quo. That the status quo is that the government money is in the basket.
Well, it's going to be a lot less of the government money in the basket now.
No, I'm not talking about future.
Right. Okay.
I'm talking about an analysis of the status quo.
Right now it's in...
Should it be 50-50 or 40-60 or 30-70 or 0-100, nothing?
Okay.
So that's the other discussion another day.
Okay.
I'm talking about the fact that we're talking about a basket of $1 trillion, right? In a way dispersed or allocated, we just described. If I understand or describe this whole system in a structure like that, am I doing the right thing or wrong thing?
Well, you're describing part of the reasons Obamacare just fails. Because see, one thing, they say Obamacare mandated that everybody...
Don't get to my point before I do, right? Please just answer the question.
Okay.
Am I right or wrong if I structure it like that?
Well, I think you're saying something that approaches reality, but it's something that should not be real. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about status quo, talking about reality. What's happening now? What we're seeing now?
The government provides subsidies to the insurance companies to guarantee them from having losses. Which is a very, very, very.
So in other words, I'm right. Okay.
Right. You're right in some of the reality. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing our health care. Regardless of Obamacare, Trumpcare, Jack Chow care, Ken Hemming care, it doesn't make any difference. We're talking about care. Care is the thing that we want to make sure that we're covered. That's it. That's it. End of the day, we're still talking the same thing. You know, as early in the morning, we're talking same thing. We're on the one page, still the same page, right? So stay with us. We will be right back. Continue the discussion, please. Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the discussion about Trump Care versus his 100-day plan. It looks that we probably should use all the time for Trump Care because we got to leave the 100-day plan comment till next week. But anyway, we'll go as we will. I mean, we'll just revise as we go, right?
Right.
So we're talking about Trump Care to understand why Trump Care works, to understand why Obamacare didn't work. The best way to me is that to understand the structure of the insurance system, right? To do that, I laid a module. The module say is that you have a basket that has $1 trillion, half from the government, half from the insured by paying their minimums, right?
Hopefully.
Okay. And the insurance company are the ones dispersing the money. They allocate, make sure pharmaceutical sales, doctor gets paid, they themselves get paid, patients get covered, everything like that. All right. Okay. Now, what is the difference between this structure and the Obamacare structure, please?
Well, the what you call Trump Care, I call citizen care because.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's focus on my question, please. My question is, what's the difference in between the structure of what I described and the structure of Obamacare?
Yeah. Well, I think number one, there's going to be more competition because the insurance companies will be able to offer their products, and the people will be able to buy it across state lines, and there's really a competition was eliminated under Obamacare. In their states now, like in Ohio, 94 out of 99 counties only have one place you can get insurance.
And the question was that what's the difference? No. Competition is how they do it. I'm talking about structure. So for structure, in comparing the structures, I want a comparison between Obamacare and the existing logic structure, please.
Well, the existing logic structure, I haven't read Trump Care because it just got out yesterday.
No, you were going.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're keeping going back.
Okay. Well, the difference between.
Is there something called Trump disease or something? Trump flu, term like that? No.
Yeah.
Looks like you call it Trump flu.
Not at all.
Let me say it for the fourth time. Okay, the fourth time. My question is that what is the structure of Obamacare versus the structure I just described? Right. Now, let me ask one by one.
Yeah.
Under Obamacare, are we still talking about a basket? Yes, we are.
Well, there's the basket that also has the government controlling the basket.
No. We're talking on the basket, right? Okay.
Of revenue.
In the basket, we just quote unquote, we took a random number, say $1 trillion in it, right? Okay. Now, say 50% versus 50%, or 60 or 40. In the Obamacare system, do you see 50-50 or do you see 60-40 or 70-30?
Well, I'm not sure the relationship, but Trump Care is going to have about half the. No, wait, Jack.
Oh my God.
Half the subsidies.
I am asking you. Let's go step by step, one by one.
Okay.
What is the proportion in Obamacare? So are we saying that we still have 50-50, or we have 60-40, or what else?
Well, in Obamacare, it was at least 50% government, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now 50-50.
And now maybe it's 25%.
The money comes from the government, which is tax money.
Subsidies,
right?
yes.
Okay, subsidy.
Our money.
Okay, tax money from the government in the way of subsidy.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
And then the premiums are paid by the insured. And then the insurance company operates, right? And what is different is that the government, while imposes a mandate, say you must go my way.
Right.
If you don't, if you do not get into the basket, you get fined.
Well, yes,
something like that.
And what's happened? More
Am I
people.
right? Okay,
more,
now anything other? I mean, any other differences?
Well, it's important to point out that more young people have chosen to pay the fine than have signed up for the for Obamacare.
Okay, good.
So that's a big deal.
Okay, good. That's a big deal.
Let's
lay there as a fact,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And the other difference is that, and there's no expense cap for treatment.
For premium and
For treatment to be provided. Say if you needed a dialysis every other day, that's a very costly procedure, right? You need whatever special treatment every day. That's very costly. You don't want to put a cap to say, hey, that's it, no more money.
Well, they have put caps.
That's
on
Obamacare.
And veterans have died because they've been in line waiting to get treatment, and it doesn't come in time. And a girl, a nice,
no.
20
Let's talk about the structure side. Let's talk about structure side.
Okay.
As loopholes, we come back later, right? Okay, then Obamacare says you may drag along your kids under 26 years of age into your own plan. Okay, you're in the basket.
Sure.
Anything else, that is different from the normal or should be structure.
Yeah, that is different. As a matter of fact, I'm opposed to up to 26. You can stay with your parents. I mean, you're an adult. Get out.
Okay. I don't like that. I don't like that myself.
Yeah.
But that's not.
I can go along
that's
with the
irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Okay,
now. The thing, Jack, well, this is a very, very good point here. The thing with pre-existing conditions, you can have no insurance, and then all of a sudden you get cancer or something, and then you can go get your insurance. It really doesn't make sense, because it's just like, say you have your car insurance, and then you got a teenage kid and it's not insured, he has a wreck or you have a wreck, and then you go out 2 weeks later and buy insurance to cover it retroactively. That's kind of insanity. That's why it's not insurance. That's why it's not insurance.
Well, that could be probably partially the reason that our system has never been steady. It's been on the go, on the move, on the shaping, reshaping, always, as long as I could remember. Back to the Roosevelt's time, right, when it started, all right, and then the social benefit starts the same way. It's never been say, hey, done, let's do it that way. No, it's being revised on the go. Yes. That's why somebody never get enough sufficient coverage or health insurance with the existing conditions, because they are worried, because they need to check. For example, right now, with the hanging of Obamacare and the coming in of Trump care, lots of people say, hey, let's wait until we see clear where do we want to go, okay? Thing like that, okay? Now, don't blame them. I'm talking about the third page. The third page is another parameter saying that, looking at the same structure though, what is Trump care structurally different from the existing structure, or should be structure?
Well, I think it's going to have a lower percentage of complete revenue generated by the healthcare system in America coming from the government. It's going to get younger people to sign up because it's going to be more affordable.
In other words, the government is paying. The government is paying less.
The government is contributing less.
Okay, say, we just assume the government had been paying 50%, which is just a borrowed number, by the way. All right.
Right.
Now, the Trump care, number one, would reduce the 50% to a certain number. Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah, this thing would not have passed had not this one congressman came up with $8 billion over 5 years.
No. I'm just talking about by percentage.
Okay.
Going less is a direction, right?
Of government subsidy.
Of a government subsidy. Yes. Okay. The shortage caused by the government subsidy going down, where does that come from?
Well, see, they're also going to do.
Or where should there come from? Should that come from?
It should come from the premiums charged for people to be insured.
In other words, it comes from it comes from the insured. Am I right?
Yes.
Another word, from my pocket.
Yes, sir.
As taxpayer, on one hand, I'm paying the government the tax, and on the other, I'm paying my own premium, which is increased by 30%.
Well,
am I getting fairly treated?
Well, that's if you've gone 63 days without insurance. Otherwise, it's not just increased by 30%.
Okay, now I'm saying that on one hand, in general, on one hand, I'm paying tax, which is supposed to come back to me.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and on the other, I'm charged for my own premium.
I 100% agree with you. I do not myself support government subsidies to insurance companies to diminish their losses or increase their profits. I don't like that. The government's nose is in our business, and it really, the only people involved in an insurance situation should be insuring company and those that want to be insured through premiums.
Yeah, how you think or where do you support is the other thing, right? I'm talking about by structure, we're seeing the government, number one, doing less to the subsidy. And there has to be a shortage because we're talking about a borrowed number, which is 1 trillion, right? And then we want to find out where the shortage comes from.
Well, right? There doesn't have to be a shortage if it's balanced right with actuarial calculations.
Now we keep a note here. Yeah. So we have a shortage. We want to make sure the shortage is found, okay? All right. We have a shortage here. So now, thank you. So with the shortage, we have the only answer is that to increase the premium to get it balanced.
Yeah, or increase the deductible or limit what's covered.
No.
So yes.
After all, you're playing with the $1 trillion parameters. Anyway, am I right? So the number is there. It's there, just there, right? Okay, now, and the second thing is that there is no mandate. People can say, "Hey, no, I don't want to go into the basket. Let me be standing on my own.
Yeah.
Be self-insured.
I've got my own money.
I should pay my own.
And a lot of people do that.
I decided to take the risk.
Right. Exactly.
Life itself is a risk anyway.
Absolutely.
Right. If you fly, well, you either crash or just drag it out of the cabin by police officers. Right. Yeah. So life is untold, as unpredicted. Right. So they say, I don't go. I don't buy. And then we are going back to page number 1, where when the President Obama and administration is saying that we have 10 million people who are not covered. So
that's their choice.
We are going back to page number 1.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. My note number 2 is we're going back to page number 1. Am I right?
Yeah, because now if you choose not to have insurance, you are not fined. It's just a personal choice, which is, I think, where it belongs.
Okay, all right. And the pre-existing conditions, it is confirmed, it's carried on with the version of the one that is passed in the House. So pre-existing conditions is out of question. It goes along with the trauma, with the Trump care.
And myself,
don't worry about
some
that.
people don't like how I think, but I think I'm for self-sufficiency. Okay, I'm not for government submission of my rights and my decisions. So I don't think that health care is
there's no hurry. Yeah, there's no hurry to express yourself. I haven't expressed myself yet. Okay, when it comes to you and I will do a statement. Yours is my statement. Okay, now. With all these considered, the conclusion is we are paying more for the health insurance that we thought we deserve. Am I right?
As the coverages have been expanded to go from beyond the normal structure of an insurance relationship between premium payers and the insurance company, you're right.
Am I right? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now.
And also then.
And then my next question is that during the entire campaign, Trump says I'm going to push for overturn Obamacare to replace it with a cheaper, affordable, reverse.
A lower cost.
A lower cost, more affordable care to Americans. Was that a lie or not?
Of course it wasn't a lie. Of course it wasn't a lie. Trump's not going to waste his mouth just lying. No.
Oh, he's lying all the time.
Well, you could say that. Compared to Obama and Hillary, he's never told a lie. But he exaggerates.
Liar's a liar.
He exaggerates with
Liar's a liar because you're overweight. Or when I am overweight, I said to my doctor, I said, I'm only 15% overweight. Yeah. Doctor said, there are people 50% overweight. Yeah. You don't want to worry about them or worry yourself. You are overweight, my doctor says to me.
Trump's overweight.
Okay, good.
He
All right,
did.
Good.
He says, yeah,
so,
they told me.
Now, liar's a liar, okay?
Well, he did
who
not
who lies.
That's exactly what he's
there's
putting
no
together
difference.
now,
There's no
Jack.
difference between who lies 2 hours out a day or 20 hours out a day.
Well, okay.
The same thing. They
You
are, in my eye,
Trump of
a
being
liar.
But when he says he's going to repeal
I'm accusing him. I'm not accusing him. I'm
said
saying
it
that
was a
he
lie, it was a
lied
lie.
on this issue.
He did not
He
lie.
says cheaper, more affordable care to Americans.
We will be there.
Right?
That's where it's
and we
going.
end up paying more. Come on, my dear audience. We'll come back to continue discussion with my good friend who and I argue all the time just to make a point clear. And after that, we're going to take some beer. Anyway, don't worry about us. Yeah. We sometimes fight a lot. So we'll be right back. Please. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to the argument about our health care. Health insurance is a big issue. If you're talking about big issues, my take is that amongst all the issues, there's none that is more important than your health care. Because you all want to live longer. You don't want to die. All right, so that's the answer. Now, talking about the fact that the Trump care proposal has just the third push, I believe, just passed the House, waiting at the Senate door. Right. We're talking about the future, including should it not pass the Senate. Joining me in the guesswork, in the discussion, if not an argument, is my good friend, Ken Hemming. Ken Hemming is my really good friend, and you can judge by the extent that I argue with him. That has to have a friendship to back it up.
That's right. We have freedom of expression.
Yeah, otherwise we'll end up
limits.
I'll end up burning his house already.
That's right. We have no limits on our expression.
Yeah, we have a big friendship to support our argument.
That's right.
And plus the fact is that we want to argue to make the point clear.
Right, to help
I do, that's it. I do agree with the fact that there's no difference between Obamacare and the Trump care. I'm not a Obamacare supporter. I'm not a proactive Obamacare. Neither am I a Trump care supporter, because to me, they are only making it a political issue. It's the most practical, down-to-earth, grassroots issue, yet it is made so far the most serious political issue. Everybody tries to make his point. Everybody tries to point the finger for the purpose of pointing fingers.
Yeah, and that's why I totally do not have happy respect for many of the Republicans and Democrats that base their positions on pure political considerations. They forget they are working for you and you and me.
I'll give you 4 hands to do it.
100%.
Okay, very good.
I am not pleased with that.
Let's be frank. Let's call a spade, okay?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it this way. Okay, now, we are talking about laying a structure, which I described, which I did.
Yes.
A basket of insurance we call health insurance. That calls for a borrowed number, say $1 trillion.
Right.
A portion of which comes from the government, a portion which comes from premium, to be allocated, dispersed by insurers. Right. To be allocated amongst all this group of people, the chain of the people, doctors, pharmaceutical manufacturers, so on and so forth, and distributors, so on and so forth. Everybody gets paid insurance, including the insurance company themselves. Now, anything different than that structure, I call it a revolution or a change of a system that I may decide to go support or not support. So if there's no change of that structure, you're only playing a game of numbers. That's it.
Okay, that's fair.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right? So there's nothing there's nothing but politics in there.
Way too much.
You're
and
good.
Also some bad decisions.
Dear brother Ken, I want to ask you one solid and very candid question.
Yes, sir.
Right? Do you believe with me, or do you agree with me that is total politics?
Way too much politics, way too little consideration for what is best for American citizens.
Oh, I love you for that.
Yeah, it's the
I love
truth,
you a lot.
and it makes me very sad.
Oh, okay, very good. My dear audience, we schedule another show for this very issue with the insurance company professionals.
Yes,
and she will go deeper in the issue. By then, I'll give you her scheduled time if you want. If you would find time, I know you're busy.
I'd love to talk to people.
You could probably join her in the discussion.
I'd love to talk to people in the business.
Now let's move on to the Trump 100 days, shall we? Please?
Yes.
And I believe that the dear Trump has wasted up my the 2 segments of times in talking about his lovely character.
Yes,
now,
sir.
last time on the 28th of April day, we stopped by his Secretary of Commerce as we went down the restrictions of.
You put a line under it.
Yeah, I'll put a line here. Line here. Okay, I'm talking about. He says, I will direct the Secretary of Commerce and the U.S. Trade Representative to identify all foreign trading abuse.
Right. Yeah.
That unfairly impact American workers, and direct them to serve every tool under America, and
to correct
international laws to end those abuse immediately. How do you explain the whole term? Sounds very kind of like a tongue twister.
In the first 100 days, he really, I haven't seen almost any coverage of that, okay? Now, it also takes a long time to read all existing treaties, trade treaties, and see where the abuses are. Now, some people see the abuses because they live in them that are in the administration, whether it's Obama's or Trump's administration. But I think there hasn't been energy put into that yet. He's put energy into TPP. We're out of that, Trans-Pacific Partnership, and now he's got the leaders of Mexico and Canada to call him to say, please don't drop out of NAFTA yet. Let's try to renegotiate. But beyond that, there's really been no news on identifying other that I'm aware of.
Thank you for being honest. I know you are a master of words. Otherwise, you wouldn't have produced a wonderful book that calls Life is Simple, 100 Words to Live By. In other words, as long as you master that 100 word, you're a master of life.
I believe that.
Right?
I think I have mastered
the art of life. Let me ask you, there is a difference, always difference between if I say something accidentally wrong, I made a mistake. And I apologize because I said something in exaggeration.
And that's human decency.
Exaggeration, right? And then for human decency, I said, I'm sorry, I apologize for I said what I should have not said, right?
Because you were enthusiastic.
That doesn't mean I'm a liar.
No.
Only because what I said has a distance from reality.
Right.
For which I apologize.
Just a little exaggeration.
Now, knowingly, I say, I went to the moon last night.
Right,
and I came back before 5.
Right,
Had a little night, had a little fun with my wife, and then I'm here working.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
Am I a liar or not?
That would be a lie.
Yeah.
That would be
knowingly, I'm not the one who can cover a moon trip to and fro.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
12 hours.
In 12 hours. And plus I need a vehicle to do so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, now saying that is a lie. Am I right?
It is.
Okay. Knowing American trade agreement with several countries internationally, that should be a whole library of it.
Well,
knowingly that he shouldn't have time to read all of them, or even a part of them, even the medical part of it.
Right.
And saying that he would do this, do that, do this, says this many, identify all the foreign trading abuses that unfairly impact American workers and direct them to use every tool under American and international law to end the abuse immediately.
Yes, right. Well,
so was he exaggerating? Was he lying to make a point?
He was not lying. Using the word immediately is impossible in government. It moves slower than a sloth. Okay, so there's no speed in government.
Okay,
so
now
immediately is not a good choice.
I'm asking for a higher price, then I could settle. Right?
And, and the other thing,
I could settle with you on this one if you agree with me that he exaggerated the issue.
He exaggerated the potential of short-term success on that design.
Good, that's enough.
Right.
That I'm willing to settle. Even though I'm asking a much higher price, I'm saying that he might be a liar. Right.
I'm not going to use that
word. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
The other thing, I'm always a greater fan of trade agreements between one country and one other country, not between one country and 17 other countries.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Really
that's why.
Man to man.
That's why
woman,
the TPP we backed off.
Right.
I just find myself. I don't know why. I'm in support of that backing up because we're just wasting too much of our money and time and efforts to do it like say one against everyone.
Exactly.
Like what? Like a dealer at Las Vegas table.
Yeah,
say, hey,
6 people he's playing against.
And they can't wait for me to bust. Right. On a 12.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Very good. My dear audiences, with my good friend Ken Hemming, I'm having, I can't say a good time. I'm having a sober-minded time. How about that? In discussing first our healthcare programs, call it the Trump care, call it Obamacare, call it replacement care, call it a kind of care in the making, so on and so forth, whatever, your freedom. But we need to understand, unless there's a change of the system, the fundamental change. Other than that, it's only games, only politics, only politics.
And that's what Trump is trying for, is a fundamental change in how D.C. does.
I don't think so.
Oh, that's
okay,
exactly
you're
what he's trying
dragging
for.
me back to give credit to him. I totally disagree. So stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
We're cleaning the swamp.
Hello, my dear audience, my dear lovely audience. Welcome back to the discussion about Donald Trump and his 100 days. To start with, we got to insert something breaking news, which was yesterday, day before, that the Trump care had just passed the House, waiting for the Senate to either approve or deny or bounce it back to the House. The House will rework something.
Yes, they will. Yeah, they all will rework everything.
Back and forth, go back and forth until either die or pass.
Right.
Either way. Let history, let time take care of that, and we decided to go back to our scheduled subject, which is Trump and his 100 days. Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And we stopped the last time. We picked it from where we stopped last time. We are continuing. All right, shall we,
sir.
please? Okay, now, next one says, I will lift the restrictions on the production of $50 trillion worth of job-producing American energy reserve, including shale oil, natural gas, and the clean coal.
Yes, sir.
And he will lift the ban.
Right.
Is he uplifting, or and he's still working on it?
No.
I know he's working on the Keystone Pipeline.
Well, the Keystone Pipeline has been approved. The coal restrictions have been removed, and clean coal. There's nothing perfect, but it produces like 60% of the energy that America needs, and so coal is very, very important, and so he's taken action on that statement. There's no complete success yet. There's never success. There's just that we have had progress. Coal miners are going back.
Right. He said, I will.
Coal stock is back up in the stock market, and so he has made his declarations, his executive orders, and then now some have to be converted into law. But they're going to be doing the 2 pipelines, and that's really, it's going to be good. And of course, everybody worries about the American Indians.
It's quite essential that I found myself in agreement with you.
Yeah.
How about we let it pass move on, because it is, no matter he says, I have lifted, I will lift, he is using the word that lifting the ban.
Yes, he is.
Right? For the purpose of, for the benefit for the Americans, not thinking about the birds, the South Pole, North Pole. Those are 2 intangibles, all right?
I know,
too far away.
I know.
Right, good.
That's
anyway, let's move on, shall we please? All right. He says he will lift the Obama-Clinton roadblocks and allow vital energy infrastructure project like the Keystone, which we mentioned, to move forward.
Yeah, we did.
That we passed, right? We agree, okay. And then he says, cancel billions in payment to UN.
Yes.
To UN climate change programs, and use the money to fix Americans' water and the environment and the infrastructures.
Right.
How do you support that?
Well, I fully support it, because I think the United Nations is extremely dysfunctional and ineffective. And I'd like it to be out of America. Okay, put it in Switzerland or something. But and now Haley, who is the ambassador to the United Nations representative, so far from all I hear, has done a really good job of representing America in a stronger way. On their Human Rights Council at the United Nations, they have some of the most evil countries in the world in terms of human rights that are on the council, and then America gets blamed and Israel gets blamed for everything.
And yet the worst part is that we're paying.
We're paying like 60% of the whole thing.
We're paying huge amount of dollars to UN programs.
Right. And he has told them we're going to pay
Forget
less.
Whatever, just to say the climate change thing.
Yes, sir.
The climate change is the call of the whole global Earth.
Right.
It's not a United States call.
Right.
It's not for United States only. Everybody should do their own part.
Right. And,
if you are not doing your own part, I'm backing off.
And he has backed off. He's backed off in that we are not going to be putting that money into that program. So he is doing that.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Guy, every morning he walks out, there is a homeless guy standing by the door, right? And there's a complex, by the door of the complex.
Sure.
He gives him $10, right, for milk, something like that.
Right.
And for years he does that.
Right.
$10 is not a big thing, right?
It's money. Yeah.
One day he says, give him $5, $5, says, I'm sorry, I cannot afford 10 because I'm married and I have a family.
Exactly.
I give you only 5, only 5. And he get a slam on the face.
I know.
Say, you're using my money to raise your own woman?
No, that's right, Jack. That's why these entitlements,
and we're accused of using their money to raise our own woman.
Yeah. See, Dr. Ben Carson, within the last 3 days, he made a comment that these low-income housing things that people can...
Talking about UN.
Well, okay, but the whole point is, if you make it too comfortable for somebody, then they'll never be motivated to do better. Like the UN.
They grow a habit.
Yeah, it's just
they grow a habit.
They grow a habit.
Like this guy, like this guy, not only a habit but temper.
Right. No.
You get a slam on the face, say, "Hey, you're using my money to raise your own woman."
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't believe we owe everybody or every country.
You like my story, right?
Exactly true.
To describe the UN situation, we are no longer paying this kind of like lunatic money.
Right, we're not.
No, we're not being
cash.
We're not being lunatic enough to burn our cash on something that we get blamed for.
You know, and a large part of that money, as we both know, just gets defrauded, stolen by the government.
What money is that? That's my
Our
money.
money. It's your money. Right out
my
of
money,
right out
your
of
money.
check.
Okay.
Right out of our check.
Okay, very good.
Right.
Okay, very good.
Not good.
Sure. And we get agreement on this one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the biggest agreement.
Appreciate
Let's do this. That's the biggest agreement, okay?
Totally agree.
And then he says, additionally, on the first day, I will take the following 5 actions to restore security and the constitutional rule of laws. Once again, he mentioned Constitution. Right. We have only time to talk about his first. Cancel every unconstitutional executive actions, memorandum, and other issues by President Obama.
And he has signed so many things that just have been eliminated, many of those executive orders of Obama. So
my question, dear Ken, my question, my dear brother, okay? Yes, would it be better to say, I will cancel the executive order made by a former president, by my former predecessor, Obama, and the executive order A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to cover all the executive orders, rather than he himself says every order, every executive order. Well, there's a better rhetorical way. You know my point,
sure,
right?
I understand as a wordsmith, okay? But what you're saying, like some of the Obama executive orders may have value and ought to be retained. But so you don't want to just blindly erase everything. Mm-hmm. So you've got to give it the proper thought processes within your agenda to eliminate those that prevent you from achieving what you were elected to do.
In other words, you agree with me, there is a better way to say or to do or to express what he wants to do, rather than saying, and I will cancel every constitutional executive action, memorandum, including memorandum, and the president's order issued by President Obama.
Now, and of course, the tricky part of that, because he does identify them as unconstitutional, and they haven't all been to the Supreme Court to see if they were or not. I think many of them were not.
Subject to
that
the Supreme Court, right?
Yeah.
So now for this one, he is exaggerating. Do you agree with me?
Oh, I think he's taking action just as he says in there. I'm not sure it's exaggerating, but it's still a process. It's still
either he is exaggerating the issue, or he is doing his work in an exaggerated way.
But on the first day of Monday, whatever the date was, he signed a lot of orders that did exactly that. Not completely, but on that purpose.
Sure. And he said, on the first day he will do that. Yeah. And he did something like the travel ban, right? Like he did. Travel ban was on exactly in the afternoon of the first day.
Could be.
Okay. I was precise on that one.
Okay.
And then about cancellation of everything Obama did is not a thing. Okay. Now, once in a flight to China, sitting next to me was a professor from Sydney University of Australia.
Okay, beautiful.
We had a very nice conversation talking about history, right?
Good.
And he explains why United States, U.S., within a time span of only 200 years, could be who we are today. Yeah. Why some other countries, when dynasty overthrows the former dynasties, always the latter overthrows the former. It goes on and on, on and on, in a way at a frequency, for example, 50 years. Right? Well, every 50 years they go this, right?
Right.
And then every 4 years we change a president.
Right.
Now, so altogether, every time we change a president, new president, there is a continuation. So these 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, there's 50 of the 4 years in a way of plus. You are accumulating.
Right.
Now, if there's only 50, and regardless of how many times it has been overturned, you are overturning the previous one, start your own.
Right.
Yours being overturned over again.
Right.
And then the whole nation has only 50 years of history.
Right.
Now, back to this issue.
Yeah.
All right. should he continue anything, the essence, which is still good, right? Words to be carried on, rather than I flip it over, let's do it the Jack Chow way.
No,
I don't think it's necessary.
We have a constitution. To maintain the application of the concepts in the Constitution of the Bill of Rights, that is the continuity of America.
Yeah, that's why.
And we don't have.
That's why
Supreme
Court was suspended his executive order, right? So now, let's make a mark here today. 5-5. We stop here. Okay, very good. My dear audiences, lovely ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. And Ken and I were having a good time. We argue a lot, but we love each other a lot. We support each other a lot. So to you, thank you very much for watching. And to you, thank you for arguing with me.
Thank you for letting us in your home.
All right, good.
Love that.